Hi, my name is Josh. I'm here to briefly discuss tires as they pertain to the modern car. I'm focusing mainly on road cars, or what you see on the streets every day, rather than race cars and specialty vehicles. Um, as you probably already know, your tires are the only part of your car that physically holds you to the road, so they're pretty important. It's pretty important that you either understand or appreciate your tires because they literally keep you on the ground. Um, so you probably already know, but there are different types of tires out there depending on your needs and the climate you live in. The three main types that I will be discussing are all-season tires, summer tires, and winter tires. Sorry. So they're all made of different rubber compounds depending on your needs, and they all have different tread patterns. So I'll start with all-season tires because they are the most popular, at least here in Wisconsin. All-season tires are generally what you see on cars around here. They're common, they're cheap, and they serve most people well. So they are made of a pretty hard rubber compound, mostly for fuel efficiency and tread life. They will last longer as you drive. I think most all-season tires are rated for up to 60,000 miles of use before you have to replace them. They also have tread patterns specifically designed to push water, such as rain or melted snow, away from your tire, away from the car, so it keeps you on the ground easier. And they're pretty versatile. Next, I'll discuss winter tires, and I will go back to all-season tires a little more eventually, but I'm just covering the basics. So all-season tires, I already covered that. Winter tires. They are for people who experience snow or extremely cold temperatures. They are rated for as low as 30 degrees, or negative 30 degrees, Fahrenheit. Obviously that will differ based on the manufacturer, but that's a pretty common goal that they all shoot for. They are made out of a pretty soft rubber compound to avoid freezing. So you don't really want to use those in high temperatures because they will wear a lot faster due to the soft rubber. They also have a pretty aggressive tread pattern. It's pretty deep. It's meant to actually dig you out of snow, at least a light snow. You're obviously not going to climb mountains with them, but they're pretty useful in the winter. I run them myself. Most people recommend with winter tires that you use a narrower tire, just so it cuts through the snow a little more and you don't ride on top of the snow. So summer tires, or performance tires, whatever you call them, they're mostly for use on sports cars, like Mustangs and whatever else. They come from the factory with summer tires. Those are no good below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. I have some from my car, and once it gets cold, they are just hard as a rock, so you don't get any traction anywhere. They're basically useless. They also have the least amount of tread, mostly because where you cut the tread, that's removing surface area from the tire, or not surface area, but the contact patch of the tire. That's less rubber hitting the ground, so less grip. You generally, depending on how extreme your summer tires are, you don't want to run them even when it's raining, because your risk of hydroplaning increases. They also tend to have a shorter sidewall, which is supposed to aid in side-to-side movement, because when you go around a corner, your car grips to the road, but it can also lean on the sidewall, and a shorter sidewall gives the car less lean. That's not really taken into account much with winter or all-season tires because you're generally not driving aggressively or in a performance setting with winter tires or all-season tires. So obviously different types of vehicles will have different types of tires or different sizes or builds. For instance, on a road car, like I mentioned, or a performance car, you'll have those short sidewalls for performance reasons, but on most commuter cars or trucks, they'll have a nice tall sidewall because that will improve the ride quality. The air in the tire will act as a cushion, and the sidewall will actually flex as you go over bumps, and it just kind of aids in the suspension and your ride comfort levels. Most people don't run those rock solid summer tires year round because they want a softer ride to work. Tire width obviously will vary too. On trucks, they generally run wide tires, mostly for traction when they're in mud or whatever else. Summer tires too generally come a little wider for those sports cars because they want more rubber hitting the surface of the road. But a lot of, like I mentioned earlier, snow tires are narrow, and a lot of commuter car tires, like all seasons, are a little narrower too, because the less width, the narrower the tire, the less friction you're actually applying to it, improves gas mileage for those tires. And that's a big thing that people take into account when they buy things like a Corolla or a Civic or something like that. So, as I mentioned earlier, your tires are suited for your needs, and not all tires can do everything, despite what advertising might say. So, say you have a car that you take to the track. There are actually dedicated track tires too, and those will have virtually no tread. It'll just be like racing slicks is what they're commonly called. That's just for more contact patch. Now, for stuff such as top speed cars, like the ones you see on the Utah Salt Flats, those cars can reach, I think the current record right now is 760 miles an hour, and there's currently a company called Bloodhound who's going for 1,000 miles an hour. If you can imagine the rotational force put on those tires, it's incredible. So they have their own dedicated sets of tires. They're actually just solid pieces of rubber with no air in them. Just because as you spin the tire, the air inside will actually push out on the tire, and it causes the tire to either explode or just cause big bubbles in the tire, which will throw them off the track. This was a problem faced on the road recently. 2008-ish, Bugatti released a car. It was, at the time, the fastest car in the world. It was the first car to ever hit 250 miles an hour. They had to have tires specially designed just for that car because of the rotational force applied to the tire. Those tires cost a lot. They're about $13,000 per tire, so you don't want to run through those too fast. And at your top speed, they will only last about 15 minutes. So keep that in mind the next time you're driving your Bugatti 250 miles an hour. Not that that's ever going to be a problem for anybody here. But so in closing, tires are important. Excuse me. So hopefully you get that. That's not a place where you really want to save money on your car. You want to spend as much as you can afford because they are literally the only thing touching the ground between you and your car. Thank you.